What up, YouTube? It's me, RicoKnows. How you guys doing, man? Listen, it's a rhetorical question. I don't give a damn how you're doing, all right? I'm doing amazing. I'm just letting you know that right now. I am recovering from a sickness, and I feel so much better. So shout out to you guys. So you guys know what to do. It's that time of the year. It's NFL draft time, and everybody asking for my rankings every single year. We've been doing this for a couple years now, and I have a chart. I'm going to pull it up on the screen for you guys to see it. Some of you guys are very aware of the chart. Some of you might be new to it, so I'm going to explain to you guys how the chart works. You might not have ever seen this chart before. At the very top of the chart, these are all my favorites. These are my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL draft. I do not care what you have to say about it. They're my personal favorites. They can't be wrong. I highly suggest you do the same thing. Make a chart with your 5 favorite players and just put them up there. Nobody gives a damn what you're saying. Doesn't matter what you saw on TV, what you read on Twitter, what somebody else talked about. They're your 5 favorites, and have conviction. Nobody can get you off them. You feel me? Next, I have my hidden gems. 5 guys that most people don't talk about, most people don't know about. Now, I say most. Listen, I advise gamblers. We watch every single game in America. We know every player. I'm telling you, some gamblers are the most informed football fans you'll ever see. Okay? And yes, some are at the FCS level. We'll talk about it when we get there. Then we got the top 10. That's what everybody's here for, the top 10. Rico, who are your top 10 quarterbacks in this NFL draft? You see them right there. I've got them down. No, I am not trying to guess where players are being drafted. This is not a mock draft. I don't do mock drafts. Never have, never will. I think mock drafts are a waste of time. Somebody sitting around trying to guess what 32 GMs are going to do on one night in April is just silly to me. And all they ever do is mock draft the first round over and over and over, and the second round, and the third round, and what they're doing is they're preconditioning you to only know about 90 players, and that's because that's all they know. Don't believe the hype when they get on TV and start talking about the players in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. They study that shit all night before the draft. If you guys ever want an experience, if you ever want to sit down with somebody who knows every player in America, sit down and watch the NFL draft with me. I do a live stream. I used to watch Pat McAfee and the boys. I used to watch Mad Mel. I used to watch all that shit. Sit down and watch the NFL draft with me. I do a live stream with it every single year. We get excited about the 6th and 7th round. We know the players. We're losing our minds. We start talking about the top undrafted free agents who are going to make a final 53. There's just so much going on with the NFL draft, and it's not just the combine. It's not just the guys they're talking about on TV. There's other players. And my gift is to identify players that you should know about. And then we do this years in advance. We've been following all these players for multiple years. So when somebody writes to me and goes, "Oh my God, Rico, did you see so-and-so at the combine?" I just think to myself, where the fuck have you been for the last 4 years, bro? Like, where have you been? This shit didn't just pop up. It didn't just happen. This young man's been balling out of control for half a decade. It's not good to be that uninformed. But I know you're here watching this live stream because you want to get informed. And we're going to talk about these quarterbacks here. I'm going to go down the list and talk about them. But the first thing I want to do is draw your attention to a couple things. Firstly, these are all the quarterbacks that ESPN ranks in the NFL draft. And that's important because when they do the best available, typically they only put people in here that they expect to get drafted. Now, there's going to be guys that don't get drafted. And as a matter of fact, there are some guys that get drafted that aren't on this list. I love to watch ESPN scramble to create the graphics when they draft a guy and they had no clue he was going to get drafted. This happened last year. It was hilarious. I was sitting back going, oh, yeah, they don't know what they're doing. There's some draft picks in the 6th and 7th round, especially in like the corners and the safety. They have no clue what they're doing. They got the wrong players. Who's feeding them this information? I don't know what nerd is doing it. But they got the wrong guys. But here's their 11 can't-miss quarterbacks. You see the usual suspects: Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jaxson Dart, Tyler Shough, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Dillon, Gabriel, McCord, Kurtis, Rourke, and my boy Seth Henigan. Okay, cool story. We're going to talk about them. And then these are all the quarterbacks that were invited to the combine. It's really important you go check who was invited to the combine. Because, my God, if you go look at the combine results, 3 quarterbacks ran the 40. 3 of them did a 10. 4 of them did a vertical jump, broad jump, 3 cone, 20-yard shuttle. Oh, by the way, none of them did the bench. They got to throw the football, man. They don't want to be sore. I'm sure some of them showed up and threw the ball. Some didn't. I don't put much value into that. I've already seen enough tape on these guys. Okay? And we'll get into it. So let's talk about the list and where we go from here. I'll start the show. I'm opening it up with my top 10. So I'm going to have this chart up the whole time I talk for the most part. And then if you got any questions, guys, there's going to be a Q&A at the end of this. You can just put it in the chat, and I will get to it. We're going to let it build up, and I'll get to it, okay? If you're watching on TikTok right now, shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Please go to YouTube, jump in the chat, drop your question, comment in there. I will never look down at the chat over here to answer your questions. I get paid to answer these questions, not those ones. So it is what it is. But thanks for watching. You can go to YouTube, search Rico Knows, hit the live tab. I'm there. All right. So here's my rankings. Clear as day. I know a lot of you guys have been asking, and throughout the year, if you saw my rankings posted earlier, some people will be like, hey, your rankings changed. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You ever dated a woman? You ever met the woman of your dreams? You met the woman of your dreams. You said, man, this girl's amazing. I'm going to go through life with her. And then she bangs the neighbor? Is she still perfect? Is she still the woman of your dreams? No, things change, right? The more data you gather, the more accurate your assessment. That's how it works. It takes time. So this is when I finally put my stamp on my NFL draft rankings. I have to live with what I post. They won't change. They won't change before the draft. If anything changes, that's life, bro. And I got to live with it. Let me tell you guys something. If you put one guy in one spot different from the public, they're all going to lose their mind. That's what's going to happen with these rankings. And that's okay. I can live with it. I can handle it. But I'm telling you, this happened to me. I put a guy third. The rest of the world had him second. I put him third, and they all lost their mind. I'm talking about Stroud. 2 years ago. I put Stroud at number 3. The world had him at 2. Rico doesn't know. Rico doesn't know. Dude, I don't care how people are drafted. I don't care about none of that. I do my assessments. I don't even let mock drafts influence me. I don't read them. I don't even watch TV. I don't watch TV, bro. There's a 65-inch TV in front of me right now. Shit's never on. Unless I'm doing a multi-screen during college football season. College football season, that TV don't turn off. But right now, I got monitors going. We're in the lab. That TV's never on, bro. It's collecting dust right now. It's on the wall like a poster. I know some of y'all don't remember posters. I know. That's how long I've been getting girls, bro. Since we were at the record store flipping through posters, okay? That's the first time I met a girl at the poster stand. Just letting you know. Nonetheless, let's talk about these quarterbacks. Number 1. Shedeur Sanders. Oh, boy. I was really torn on this assessment and this evaluation, to be honest. But I have to call a spade, and I have to keep it real. And what I'm going to keep real is pretty simple. Playing quarterback, the number one thing I value in the NFL is accuracy. And I don't care what anybody says. I really do. I value accuracy. And when I went back and watched the tape on Shedeur, he's extremely accurate. He puts the ball in places it needs to be put. Now, does he need help processing things faster? Maybe managing a huddle better? Obviously, adapting to schemes that aren't him, right? I want you guys to understand this. In the 90s and the early 2000s and the 90s, this is my experience of football, right? So late 80s, early 90s, I grew up hearing about the Bill Walsh offense. The 49ers West Coast offense, and then it segued to Mike Holmgren's West Coast offense. And then I heard about the greatest show on turf. And I remember college coaches, successful ones. Osborne at Nebraska, June Jones at Hawaii. And I remember all these teams, even Andre Ware and then boys in Houston. Remember when it was Ware and Klingler? Maybe I'm a little older than some of you guys. But the point I'm trying to make, in the mid-90s, Steve Spurrier at Florida. All of these teams created a system, and then they found players to fit that system. That was the template for success. You created the system, and then players would come in and be good in that system, and then it was hard to identify if the player was any good. It was really hard. They would call him a system quarterback. I'm talking about the Rex Grossmans of the world, the Danny Warfels. System quarterback. And all that meant was when he's in this particular system, he's effective. And when he's not in this system, he's probably not effective. And you start looking for traits. You start looking for arm strength. You start looking for abilities. And you say to yourself, like, yo, can this guy succeed without the system? And some people feel this way about the Patriots. Like, is that a system? Remember, Tom Brady was amazing. But then there's that year he got injured, and Matt Castle came in, and having never started a game in college, Matt Castle shows up and has a phenomenal Pro Bowl season. And so people start going, hey, hold on now. Maybe it's not Tom Brady. Maybe it's the system. Now, Tom bucked that and said, I'm going to Tampa Bay to prove to you I'm not a system quarterback. But that's this huge debate, right? And the only red flag I have out there for somebody like Shedeur is he couldn't flourish unless they changed the system. Like he couldn't make it in a Sean Lewis offense. He couldn't make it with choice routes. Now, he blamed the receivers and said they couldn't read the routes. They couldn't read the defense, so we weren't on the same page, and that led me to hold the ball longer and got me sacked. My offensive line sucks. We got no running backs. We've heard it all. But when I have to assess individual players, I also have to understand that in the NFL, they have segued or just evolved away from plug-and-play quarterbacks into a system. Now, when you get a franchise quarterback, the teams are adjusting to their quarterback. They're finding weapons for their quarterback. They're finding what skills and traits he has and making it work. Now, Pete Carroll at Seattle is a prime example of a system, and they got Geno Smith, they plugged him in, and he started playing great because he's a system quarterback, because he fits right in. But when you start looking at a team, now some teams are failing at it. Don't get me wrong. Kyler Murray, Cardinals, trying to find answers, trying to find things to make your quarterback better is what they're doing, right? And they're trying to, I guess, play on their positives and their traits. So I'm assuming, once again, that Shedeur Sanders, wherever team he goes to, they're going to try to do that for him. Find him the right weapons. Find him the right scheme where he can be productive. And I used to say this in the Army all the time. You know, I'm a retired first sergeant, and I used to tell my platoon sergeants, like, hey, guys, if you set your soldiers up for success, they will succeed. But if you set them up for failure, well, they're going to fail. So I think a guy like Shedeur Sanders needs to find the right organization. I'm not here to project how good they're going to be in the pros. I'm just telling you today, if we had tryouts tomorrow and all these guys were lining up throwing this rock and trying out for your team, you'd be hard-pressed to pick a different quarterback from Shedeur Sanders. You really would. I think he throws the most accurate deep ball out there. He can throw guys open. Remember, anticipation throws is a big deal in the NFL. Throwing against man coverage is a really big deal. And when you look at teams defensively, they would annihilate this offensive line. And they would go out there and say, all right, we don't have to bring much pressure. We can get pressure with 3 or 4 guys up front naturally without blitzing. And now we can zone the back end. And that was very advantageous for Shedeur to go out there and complete passes against zone coverages. I don't think he's going to get that in the NFL. But I do think he has the accuracy to beat man coverage. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in this draft. And I believe it. I think he throws the best ball. And I'm going to leave it like that. And I know I saw somebody just write in the chat, like, yo, that's shocking to me that you have him number 1. Shout out to Evan Kramer. He's been a follower of the channel for a long time. Trust me, when I put him number 1, I had to go back and reevaluate everything before I put him number 1. And I know that these rankings will stand the test of time, right? I'm going to hear about these for the next 2-3 years, and it's never going to go away. And I had to really think about that. But I think that if I'm being fair and impartial when evaluating quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders is the best natural quarterback in this whole list. So I'm going with it. It is what it is. Number 2 for me, Jaxson Dart, Ole Miss. Remember, Jaxson Dart, I know who he put or who he kept on the bench Let me just make this very clear. Jaxson Dart beat out a lot of quarterbacks to be the starting quarterback at Ole Miss. He beat out a lot of quarterbacks to be the starting quarterback at USC. And to be a starting quarterback in the SEC and to make receivers from schools like La Tech into all SEC wide receivers, I give him a lot of credit for just making the right plays. Now, when I watch him, some people will describe him as a gunslinger. Fine. That's fine. I'm assessing these quarterbacks for who they are right now. And I think Jaxson Dart is an elite quarterback. Elite. Not as accurate as Shedeur Sanders, but I like the kid a lot. I think he's got moxie. I think he's a leader. Stud. I like everything about him. And I refuse to believe that he would ever get a 6th or 7th round grade. And I want to make that very clear. I understand he's going to get drafted probably in the first round, late first round, early second round, whatever it is. I don't care about any of that. When I assess players, I throw that out the window. I don't give a shit what the NFL thinks of these guys. It's what I think of them. And you have to get in the habit of doing that. A lot of you guys are influenced by mock drafts and influenced by talking heads on TV. If it was your job to evaluate players and identify them and give out your rankings, you wouldn't ever want to start with somebody else's template. You just wouldn't. That's crazy, bro. You ever been on a dating app? You don't go on the dating app and go, hey, ask one of your friends, hey, man, who's your top 10? Hey, who'd you swipe right on, bro? I think I'm going to do the same thing. It's not how it works. No one gives a shit how many people swipe right on this chick. You make your own list, right? You go after your own piece. When you do this, you gave me a limited number of people to look at, and I'm like, yo, Jaxson Dart looks great. And he's a leader in a program that I really believe in. And I also believe in Lane Kiffin as a quarterback developer. Just keeping it real. I like Lane Kiffin as a coach. I think he develops his quarterbacks and makes them pro ready. And not that he has any track record of success other than all the quarterbacks at USC and Alabama being NFL caliber quarterbacks. But for me, Lane Kiffin is the type of coach that will get you ready for your big day. And I think Jaxson Dart is him. I do. I like that dude. I want to be in a huddle with Jaxson Dart. He's him. Next is Cam Ward at number 3. Love Cam Ward, bro. Love him. Love him a lot. I think he needs to be commended. Starting at the FCS level, coming out of Incarnate Word, dominating. That's when he got on my radar. I started talking about him as soon as he was an All-American at UIW. You can go back on my channel as far back as you want to go. And I started telling people, Cam Ward, Cam Ward, Cam Ward. Gets up to Washington State, proves me right. Dominates, and then he tries to enter the NFL draft last year. And he enters the NFL draft where he puts his name in the draft. He gets a pre-draft grade, if you guys aren't aware of this. He got an evaluation, and they told him he's a day 3 draft pick, meaning 5th, 6th, 7th round. So you're a day 3 draft pick, so you decide, well, then I'm going to go play at Miami. I'm not going to do this day 3 evaluation. I'm going to go play at Miami. And you go to Miami, and you have some of the best running backs in America, arguably the best receiving core in America. And I talked about this in the preseason. If you guys aren't aware, I ranked Miami way in the hell up there, right up there with Oregon and Oklahoma and Ole Miss. I think those were my big ones. Wide receiver rooms in America, the best receiver room in America, arguably. And then all of a sudden, Cam Ward goes ham. Number 1 offense in America. Now you're on the national spotlight. Now everybody's watching you. Bro, it doesn't make any difference. He was already playing in the Power 4 at Washington State. He was already playing in the Pac-12. Now he moves over to the ACC. Now people are watching his games because it's on the East Coast and you're not asleep anymore. And he's doing the same shit he's been doing for the last 2 or 3 years. So while fandom has gone crazy for Cam Ward, he got so many more fans this year because he's now on TV and you're now watching Miami football. That's cool and everything. But the evaluation by the NFL coaches and GMs and scouts, they watched him play at Washington State. They watched him play. It wasn't like they were asleep at midnight. That's not their job, is to watch him. You as a casual fan might not ever watch him at Washington State, which is fine. So you didn't watch him at Washington State, and then you became a fan of him now. But the NFL coaches, they've been watching him the whole time. And I refuse to believe that you went from a day 3 prospect to the best quarterback in this draft. And that's why I'm very hesitant to tell you guys that I believe all these quarterbacks, some of them are going to be given starting jobs, right? Just based upon draft position. But I don't think any of these quarterbacks are slam dunk starters in the NFL. I just don't. I put this out on TikTok a week ago. If last year's quarterback class was in this draft, all these guys will be getting drafted 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th overall. Like, none of these guys are better than the top 3 from last year. None of them. Just, you watch the tape. You're like, no, they're not. These guys have, I'm telling you, Shedeur Sanders is my number 1 quarterback, and I have concerns on whether or not he can play in the right scheme and get the right coaches to develop him. Love his accuracy, love his deep ball, love the way he throws. Dude, it's not comparable to Jaden Daniels. It's not comparable to Caleb Williams, like, as a prospects. So this class is not the same. So when I look at Cam Ward and I put him 3, love Cam Ward's game. Been a fan of his for years. And I have him at 3. Now, I know people have him either at 1 or 2. And this is what I was talking about before the show started. The fact that I have him at 3, you guys are going to lose your minds. I'm going to be called a racist. I'm going to be told I'm anti-black quarterbacks. I'm this, that. Of course, Rico, typically, he only likes white guys. All this shit. All you dudes are pathetically inaccurate, uninformed. I sit here, I've been advocating for Cam Ward for 2 years. Easy. Do a search. RicoKnows, #Cam Ward on TikTok. Go look for him. Been talking about this man for 2 years glowingly. Think the world of him. I trust Jaxson Dart a little more. I do. And I trust the NFL coaches and the scouts' assessment of Jaxson Dart versus what they assess from Cam Ward. If they're telling you Cam Ward's the top quarterback in this draft, how do you go from a day 3 to the top? Well, he played great at Miami this year, Rico. He played amazing. He played the same he's always played. He just had better receivers. He played the same he's always played. He just played weaker teams. Washington State, playing in the Pac-12, that's a daunting conference. ACC, not so much. You can get a bunch of stats in the ACC. Look around. Okay? Defenses are pretty bad in the ACC. Just keeping it real. You want proof? Let's go to number 4, Syracuse. Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord's my number 4 quarterback. And it's kind of controversial because I wanted to put Will Howard here, but I don't put a lot of value into the combine. Will Howard looked terrible. But let's talk about Kyle McCord for a second here. Kyle McCord just led the whole country in passing yards. I love it to death, bro. I think when you're at Ohio State with all those elite wide receivers and you're able to leave there and improve your production, what? Syracuse had a great year, first-year coach, Fran Brown, and you improved your production. It's incredible. With a new coach, new scheme, new people, new receivers, he didn't give a shit. He just went out there and balled out. And the way they were winning games was because of Kyle McCord. Don't think that Will Howard is the reason Ohio State won the national title. I think Ohio State could have won the national title with Kyle McCord. I love what I see from Kyle McCord. Believe in him, man. Take care of the ball. Make smart decisions. And you just watch him and you just feel like you're always in the game. Feel like you have a chance. Will Howard, Ohio State. I'm going to tell you that Will Howard is a big, strong, fast quarterback. I've watched Will Howard break on a 70-yard run before. I've watched Will Howard. He looks like a poor man's Josh Allen. That's what he looks like. Now, it's hard for me to assess how good Will Howard is. I know he won a national title. I know he had a terrible combine. But when you go out and win the national title and you're doing it with 3 NFL caliber wide receivers on the field at all times, 2 NFL running backs, an NFL offensive line, an NFL coordinator, Chip Kelly, like you have all the advantages in the world, you're going to look pretty good. But I watched Will Howard for 4 years. I watched Will Howard at K-State. I know that Will Howard. And I know at K-State, he was getting pushed out by a freshman who can't throw. Shout out to Avery Johnson. So, for me, Will Howard isn't some slam dunk NFL guy. Now, he has NFL metrics. He's got the right height, the right weight. He's an athlete. He's willing to compete. The dude went out there. I just showed you guys the combine. 3 guys were out there running their asses off. But one guy showed up to jump. It was Will Howard. Now, Seth Henigan jumped higher than him. Everybody jumped further than him. He didn't show out. Cone drill. He beat Seth. He didn't show out, and then he threw bad. But Will Howard had every advantage in the world this year, and I think he shot up charts. And I'm going to put him at 5, but guys, he ain't my favorite. He ain't somebody I'm really rocking with. I wish him well. Number 6, Seth Henigan. If you're an MVP, if you've been a member of the channel for a really long time, shout out to the MVPs on Patreon and YouTube. If you hit the join button, you become an MVP. You'll know how I feel about Seth Henigan. Seth Henigan made me a lot of money over the years. Seth Henigan's the truth, bro. All-time leading passer in Memphis history. Seth Henigan's been a 4-year starter. Done nothing but thrown for over 3,000 yards every single year. Seth Henigan is great. Great. I love to see him go to the combine. Remember, all these guys went to the combine, and only 3 of them laced it up and said, let's compete. Let's run 40s. Let's do the jumps, and let's do the throws. Seth Henigan's one of them. I love that competitive drive. Him, Tyler Shough, and Brady Cook. And Brady Cook's an athletic kid. Amazing. And Tyler Shough coming back from injuries, but a big kid as well. All these guys went out there to do it. And I'm telling you, I'm so surprised to see Seth Henigan run a 4.76. That surprised the hell out of me. A lot of sneaky athletic right there. 4.76? Sneaky athletic. Go check out those tight end 40 times. Tell me Seth Henigan ain't an athlete. He's running with every tight end in the NFL draft. So shout out to Seth Henigan, one of the all-time greats. It's one of these kids who, you go to a group of 5 school coming out of high school, never once trying to transfer to a bigger school. Nah, let's go have a college football Hall of Fame career. Let's go do that shit. Seth Henigan put Memphis on the map, made them great. He's the reason I know Demir Blumpkinsey, the reason I know Rock Taylor. He's the reason I watch all Memphis football all day long. The truth, bro. Shout out to him. What a stud. I love him to death. By the way, he is my favorite quarterback right there, Seth Henigan. The truth. Next guy, Brady Cook. Hey, I'm going to get through the top 10. And before I touch my favorites and the hidden gems and the other guys, I'm going to jump to the chat in a few, okay? So I will get to you guys. Brady Cook, just keep letting it build up. TikTok, move it over to YouTube. I got you. Brady Cook at 7. I know who he had to beat out to be the starting quarterback at Memphis. They brought in a bunch of people. This is just a kid who born and raised to be a Memphis Tiger, bro. I'm sorry, a Missouri Tiger, excuse me. I love Brady Cook as a quarterback because, once again, it's just one of those crafty dudes. He reminds me of Steve Young. Ability to run and throw. Just a gutsy kid. I like him. I'm watching his tape, and I'm just like, yo, this kid is nice. He's good, man. I think he's an NFL caliber athlete. No one's going to want to hear me say it, but I think he's a special kind of player. I really do. I like him a lot. Then you got Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is mid to me. It's really hard to get behind a guy like Quinn Ewers. I actually want to move him down one more spot. I like Tyler Shough a little more. I've never been a big Quinn Ewers guy. His receivers were elite. His team was elite. And I felt like he was the worst player on the offense every time he touched the ball for Texas. That's how good I like Texas' entire offense. All the players on Texas offense was great. Unfortunately, the ball had to get to Quinn Ewers' hands every single play. That's how I felt. But I got to put him here because there's not much. It's slim pickings, bro. It's him, or am I going to pick Dillon Gabriel? No. Am I going to pick Rourke? No. I'll talk about it in a little bit. Am I going to pick Jalen Milroe? No. Milroe isn't making any of the charts. It's not a quarterback. I might rank him among the running backs. Oh, Rico, you can't do that. That's racist. There's black quarterbacks everywhere, bro. They've been getting drafted since 99 and respected. Go study the draft. Milroe ain't a quarterback. Tyler Shough, I like him a lot more than Quinn Ewers. Tyler Shough obviously transferred from Texas Tech. Well, really from Oregon to Texas Tech, then from Texas Tech over to Louisville. As long as he's not injured, that's a hell of a player, man. A big kid, strong arm, athletic, and I like the kid. Will Rogers. You could have never guessed he'd be in my top 10. I believe he's a one-read quarterback, but I had to put somebody there, so I put him there. I don't think 10 is a draftable position. I don't think 10 quarterbacks should be drafted. I'm just telling you. I think only 9 quarterbacks should be drafted. 10 will be drafted because they're going to draft Jalen Milroe, but only 9 should be drafted, if I'm being real. It's just a waste drafting a 10th one, but that's how I feel. The rest should be undrafted free agents, probably for the most part. But I like Will Rogers. One-read quarterback, used to be a part of those Mike Leach offenses, RIP to the Pirate. But going up to Washington just didn't end the way he wanted to, but it is what it is. All right, I'm going to jump to the chat, and then I'll go over my favorites and my hidden gems. This show wasn't meant to be long, but we're here, so let's go. Unfortunately, I don't have the chat box open for you guys, so I can't let you guys see it. That's crazy. Let me do this. Let me pop out the chat. I can do that at least. I just don't have the next window open for you guys to see the next scene. So I'll drop it over here. If you're watching this on your phone, you won't be able to read it. But I will read it to you. Easy Sunrise says, what's good, Rico? What's good, man? I'm just chilling, having a good life. Evan Kramer says, shocked to see Shedeur at number 1. I didn't mean to shock you, bro. Just got to keep it real. Skag says, Seth is looking fire. Who will the Browns grab? So, Skaggs, thanks for being here. I try not to guess what teams are going to do on draft night. I just assess the results. That's why when you guys see my NFL draft reviews, it's after the draft, and then I'll assess where they're going to fit, what they're going to do, but I don't try to guess what they're going to do in a particular draft position. I have no earthly idea what those GMs want to do, and I'm not going to put it in 4K. You know what the Browns are going to do? They're going to trade back and get 16 picks like draft day. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I'm not going there. What up, Lewis Henton? That's one of my favorite followers. Lewis Henton's here every single show, usually telling me RTR, roll tide roll, so shout out to you, bro. No Milroe in the top 10. No hate, just curious why. He's not a good quarterback. He's not an NFL caliber quarterback at all. I think he throws terribly. I think he throws worse under pressure. Hell of a runner. Hell of an athlete. I would make Jalen Milroe a safety in the NFL. Seriously, I make him a defensive back safety a la Herm Edwards. If you didn't know, Herm Edwards used to be a quarterback at Minnesota. No, that was Tony Dungy, a Minnesota quarterback, right? And then he moved over to DB. That kind of skill set. I just don't think he's a quarterback. Real talk. Not at all. I wouldn't want him on my team. I don't think he's better than, like, if you're looking at NFL quarterbacks, you got to identify a team where he's better than the 3 quarterbacks on their roster. That's how it's done. I don't see it. I don't know. I can't go there. BYU's system was crazy. Shout out to Ty Detmer. This is very true, one of us. Shout out to you, bro. That's awesome. Prophet says, wide receivers, running backs coming soon. Appreciate the work, Rico. Yep, Prophet DM. I'm probably going to be able to do one of these every single day, depending on my schedule. I know Thursday and Friday are UFC days for me. Shout out to the MVPs. I assess the UFC fights. We have a fight coming up this weekend, so it's a pay-per-view card. If you guys ever want to watch UFC fights, become an MVP, get to the Discord server, and we watch the fights together on the stage. I provide live bet analysis, props, parlays. I pick fights at some insane clip, like insane. Locks are, I think, 83% lifetime, and leans might be 66%. We're just, that's who we are. Come watch UFC with me. It's what I do. All right, Scott Levine says, does age factor in at all when you evaluate? Not at all, Scott. I think age is one of these things the young kids bring up, and it's because you guys watch NFL draft or NBA drafts too much. NBA and baseball, age is very significant. NFL, not so much. And a reason for that is when you get a quarterback, he's on a rookie contract. And he's going to get, if he's a first rounder, he's going to be a fifth round option, right? The 5th year option. And it just doesn't matter. You're just trying to sign a guy. Think about running backs. None of them go over 30 years old. You don't ever want to sign a running back to a second contract. So it doesn't matter if you get him at 24 or 22. Doesn't matter. You're only going to sign him for one contract and then get rid of him. These quarterbacks, if they're a franchise quarterback and they're your guy, it doesn't matter if he's 25 or 21. Does not matter. You got to pick the guy that's going to be good for you and going to be around. The age evaluation, like when they mention age, it's really about basketball players, and you're saying they're going to develop as they get older. NFL, it doesn't work that way, man. You're either NFL ready or you're not. The NFL insulated itself to ensure that players get there physically ready. Anybody talking about age, it's really about your physical maturation. And the NFL already insulated itself from that by saying you have to spend 2 years away from your graduating period, right? Or 3 years away from graduation, or the age of 19. They have like all these different rules. So that's why you got to be a redshirt sophomore before you can declare, or a junior, a true junior. So age is just a played out thing that everybody's talking about because COVID made all the players 1 year older, right? The JUCO thing's going to make players 1 year old. No one gives a shit, bro. If you're 24 and can ball, you can ball. If you're 20 and you can ball, like it is what it is. Age is not a part of my assessment at all. And I think it's highly overrated. Highly. The average NFL career is what? 3.5 years? So who gives a shit if you're 24 or 22? 25, who cares? You're going to be done by 28. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The vast majority of them. It is what it is. But thank you for the question. Cam Miller, number 1. Shout out to you, Cam Miller, North Dakota State, stud quarterback. Love everything about him. Thank you for being here, Goldwaters. I appreciate you. Ohio State had the best wide receiver room. Come on. Skaggs, in the preseason, there was no way to assess Ohio State as the best wide receiver room in America. You could have thought it. You could have thought they're going to be up there, but there was no way in the preseason. So talking about it after the season, cool story, bro. Let's assess results and then say what rankings you gave. That's not how I did. I told you the truth. In the preseason, I evaluated these wide receiver rooms as elite. Come on, bro. Keep up. I said Oklahoma in the conversation. Fucking Nick Anderson didn't even play. It was the assessment, and they all got injured. I still have to live with the assessment in the preseason. I don't get to cherry pick after the season. Guys, I was talking about Ohio State. What are you doing? What is that shit? Get yourself together. Rico, I love the off-season live streams. My annual MVP is about to renew in a week. Armin, thank you for being an annual MVP. If you don't know what Armin's talking about, he's an MVP. Yes, it's $25 a month. But if you're an annual MVP, it's $255 a year. You get 15% off, and he's an annual MVP. There are hundreds. Shout out to all you guys. I appreciate you. Man, Rico gives everyone who is killing it props no matter what race it is. Shout out to you, Sean Evison. I'm not sure if that's part of the metric. I don't really care. I don't see color. I love it, bro. I don't see color. Bro, I love everything. My dog is black, bro. My dog is black. My kids are Dominican. Get at me. Glad to see Kyle Honda McCord and Seth Henigan up there. Fire. Yes, sir. What up, Phantom? Danny Phantom out here giving these guys nicknames. I had no clue. Howard is like Big Ben. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. I don't think any one of these players. This is Skaggs with the second terrible comment of the day. Oh, my goodness. This boy Skaggs is on fire, bro. The worst comments ever. None of these players project for me to be two-time Super Bowl champions. I don't do that. I don't compare these players to NFL players. People always want to give comps. You better go pick something else. Don't be picking accomplished NFL players as your comp. Super Bowl champions even. Hall of Famers. It's silly. Absolutely silly. Ridiculous. Big Ben got it out the mud, bro. Big Ben came from Miami of Ohio. The MAC. Pick a MAC quarterback and then say he reminds you of Big Ben. Don't pick a guy playing at Ohio State with the best receiving core in America and compare that to a dude who made it out of the MAC with some receivers you'll never know in your life. It's absurd. What I'm saying is put some respect on Big Ben's journey. Seriously. That dude made it out of a bathroom with girls who didn't want him and became a Hall of Famer. What are your thoughts on Taylor from the Golden Hawks? Iglersma. So I saw him highlighted on one of these charts, and they put him down as one of the top players and all this stuff. And I only evaluated the FBS players, and then I had to go and individually search the FCS players and below. And that takes time. I didn't get a chance to watch Taylor's film. I just saw his name on the list. And I said, okay, cool. You're on the list. You're not in my top 10. You're not in my favorites. And I'm not going to put you on my deep long shot. So I'll get to you by April if it's warranted. Another thing I'll tell you guys, to be honest, when I start looking at players who aren't going to get drafted, I don't waste time on it. If I evaluate a player who's not going to get drafted, then I have to say they're going to make a final 53, and I try to get that right. I usually do, but I don't go through all the cycles of evaluating 100 different guys for the sake of, the NFL draft. It just bothers me when they come out with these mock lists and all these. I saw the rankings. I see them. And I just look at the list, and I'm like, oh, these guys are just listing motherfucker, bro. Just listing guys. They never watched them play a day in their life. They're lying to you. So, yeah, I haven't watched this film. And I probably won't. Hey, Rico, thoughts on not throwing in the combine? Sup, it's a duck. Thoughts on not throwing in the combine? It's like somebody saying they're fast and then refusing to race you. Right? When I was a kid growing up, Like, if you try to say you were fast and you came to my neighborhood, you had to race me light pole to light pole. We taking our shoes off and we got to figure out this light pole to light pole. Let's go. I'm the fastest dude in this neighborhood. We're going to see what's popping. And that's where we kind of got the mindset. You got to bring it, right? And we always felt that way. It didn't matter. You go on a court. You want to take the court. You got next. We got to ball up. We got to see what's up. You can't just take my word for it. Yo, I can play ball. Okay, man, well, you got to run with us first. That's just how it goes. When I see guys show up to throw, I don't know, man. I just come from a different place. I don't like people who have a resume and then can't do what's on the resume or refuse to demonstrate what's on the resume. You ever seen that? They always do those memes like somebody lied on the job application. Bro, show up and throw this damn ball. And I hear people saying, don't throw at the combine because you don't know those receivers. Bro, stop with the controlled science experiments. Throw to anybody. It's about... Have you guys ever tried, let me rephrase this. Have you guys ever tried catching a fly ball in baseball? Have you ever been in the outfield and you try to catch a fly ball? The ball gets hit and you're trying to run down that fly ball and then you're running up and then you realize, oh shit, I ran up too far forward and the ball's behind me. You can't eyeball it right. Maybe you're trying to return a punt. You're out there trying to field a punt or a kickoff and it's in the air and you don't know how to gauge it right. When you're playing quarterback and you're trying to throw a slant or a post or a comeback or a post corner, a lot of it is trying to gauge the speed of that person running and then you completing a pass. Yes, it would be nice to have thousands of reps with the guy and have it down to a timing route. It would be nice. But if you're a quarterback and you're elite, what do you guys think Baker Mayfield did when he landed with the Rams in less than 24 hours and went out there on the field and won? You think Baker Mayfield had reps with those guys? Think Baker Mayfield knew all those guys and did all the routes? That's why I don't like when Shedeur Sanders tweeted out and said, hey, man, give Will Howard a break. He's throwing to receivers that he doesn't know. Bruh, shut up. We're not here to do experiments. We're not here to do that shit. Throw it to whoever's out there. Pin it down, bro. I can't stand that shit. You ever seen a bowler complain about the oiling of a lane? Fuck, can you bowl or not, bruh? Can we do this? Oh, I love that one. You're playing pickup basketball on a court, and the dude starts complaining about the rim. Oh, man, that rim, man, it gets too much, man. That rim's too... Bro, shut up, bro. We all got to play with the same rim. Hey, man, this spot on the court right here is too slippery, bro. I was dribbling. I slipped. We're all running on that same spot. You go to the combine, you throw. And prove to me you can do this thing. I'm telling you. I moved guys up on my chart just for having the sheer nerve, audacity, confidence to compete at the combine. I ain't talking about just showing up and throwing. Them three dudes who ran, I love all of them. Just for showing up to run, lacing it up and saying, we'll run, we'll jump. Jalen Milroe not running. It's the only trait you got, bro. It's the only fucking trait you got and you don't run. Insane. Am I crazy for thinking Will Howard is a bigger, less polished Jalen Hurts? Yes. You are not crazy. Certifiable. Evan Kramer, get your straight jacket and some padded walls, buddy. Certifiable. Jalen Hurts is such an amazing quarterback. Bro, he lost one game at Alabama and lost his starting job. He's amazing. And they benched him, and he didn't ruin the locker room. He didn't pull a Cam Newton. Homie just stood there. It was like, yo, it is what it is. And then he went to Oklahoma, learned how to play quarterback with a great quarterback coach, and went to the NFL, and he's successful. Super Bowl champ. You guys fucking crazy. You're comparing these quarterbacks The guy I have fifth on this list. You're comparing him to a Super Bowl champion. Stop it. Fucking insane. Who does Will Howard remind me of? Give me a second here. We'll do this in real time for you guys. Quarterbacks drafted year by year. If you didn't know, this is the list of every quarterback ever drafted. Who does Will Howard remind me of? Will Howard reminds me of Kyle Trask. Will Howard at best. Kyle Trask, Florida. What an amazing year he had. Jacob Eason. Stop naming NFL starting quarterbacks. Stop naming Super Bowl champions. Mason Rudolph. Will Howard and Mason Rudolph. We'll keep going. Cardell Jones. None of these dudes. Logan Thomas. Fucking tight end. Logan Thomas, probably the most accurate one. Tom Savage. You guys are out of your flipping minds. Brock Osweiler. That's who he reminds me of. You guys are out of your flipping mind naming champions, Super Bowl champions, bro. Not a one of these motherfuckers, not one is winning the Super Bowl. Not one. Holy shit. I'm serious. You guys lost your damn mind. You guys are crazy, bro. Next comment. Shout out to Evan Kramer, bro. I remember last year you talked about Gabriel being high up the quarterback rankings. Did anything change? Yeah, Dominic, shout out to Dillon Gabriel. I talked about him. Now, please understand, there is the college football rankings that I put out. Totally different from the NFL rankings. College football rankings are typically driven by impact that you might have seen, like a quarterback transfer portal rankings. Very high on Dillon Gabriel transferring and being the new starting quarterback for Oregon. It's going to be one of the top 3 transfers in all of America because it's not often you get a transfer that impacts your win-loss total like that, right? And obviously they were the number 1 team all year, and he impacted their win-loss total immensely. I might rank you very high in the transfer portal rankings and might think very highly of you. When it comes to an NFL draft ranking, totally different. I'm evaluating these players based upon the value I think they bring to NFL teams. Like, if you ever want to assess my rankings, it's based upon what I think they can do for an organization. And that might be a number of things. Volunteering in the community, being a great locker room guy, being competitive, being whatever it is. When I look at a guy like Dillon Gabriel, he's just so small, diminutive. I don't think it brings a lot of value to an NFL team. That's real. He's still a good football player. Very good, all-time great college football player. But not somebody that I would think needs to be drafted or that I think needs to be on your football team like that. I don't get down like that. Milroe comp. Noah Markley says, Milroe comp to Justin Fields. I actually think that's an insult to Justin Fields. I don't think either one of them is very good. But, I don't know, Justin Fields can complete a pass here or there. Milroe, he's faster, bro. Milroe's a better athlete. Like, Milroe can play in the NFL at a different position. Justin Fields, boo-boo to fool. I'm not on Justin Fields. I don't like Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a liar, bro. Justin Fields, to get eligible at Ohio State, claimed he was the victim of a racial slur at the University of Georgia. He claimed he got hired an attorney. I was called the N-word by someone in the crowd. Really? You were the victim of a racial slur at Georgia? Huh. That's how it went down. That's why it wasn't because you lost the quarterback battle and you wanted to start right away at your next school, so you pulled the race card. No. You were the victim of a racial slur at this university. Oh, man. And that probably makes you think this guy would never go back there. Say you went to a bar. You walked in a bar and the bartender used a racial slur towards you. Would you ever go back there? No? I don't think so, right? You were a victim of a racial slur in that establishment, at that vicinity, at that university, at that fucking stadium. Yet a year later, His sister enrolls at Georgia. You're going to let your sister go to a place where you were the victim of racial slurs? Come on, bruh. Sister's out there playing softball for Georgia like ain't shit happened. Dude's a liar, bro. I can't get down with that. I can't. Can't get down with it. Lying just to get eligible? Nah. This is off topic, but do you have a favorite NFL team or college team? Xavier Jaxson, no. I'm not a fan of any team. I'm a fan of players and coaches. I don't care what team they play for or where they coach. I support individual people. I don't give a shit where they go. I don't care about what color thread you're wearing, right? This all happened in the 90s. I can remember this very vividly. In the 90s, I was raised to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. Early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s. In the first year I was a Cowboys fan, 1989, they went 1-15, only beat the Redskins. Shout out to Troy Aikman. And I was raised to be a Cowboys fan. And then in 97, they trade Emmitt Smith, my favorite player in the whole wide world. I wore number 22 in high school. I'm like, what's going on? They trade Emmitt Smith. And now nobody likes Emmitt Smith. He plays for the Cardinals. They're not fans of Emmitt Smith anymore. And I'm like, why are you not fans of Emmitt Smith? He's my favorite player. He's our favorite player. No, F him. He don't play for us no more. We don't get down with him. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is our guy. And then I'm watching Raider fans cheer for Jerry Rice. They hated him his whole life. And now they cheer for him. And they got me thinking, hold on, these guys ain't fans of players. These guys are fans of thread. They're fans of cloth, bro. They're fans of colors. If you don't wear my colors, I don't rock with you. They don't like the guys wearing the colors. They just like these colors. You're just a fan of purple, bro. You're not a Lamar Jackson fan. You're a fan of purple. Because if he's wearing a different color, you don't like him no more. That's wild. Can't get down with it. Just letting you know. So, no, I'm not a fan of any team or anything like that. Hope Cam Ward does good in the NFL. Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to hope for. That's fine. Jalen Milroe is the next Kerry Joseph. Dude, Jalen Milroe is the next. He could only dream of being Seneca Wallace. Real talk. Love Shedeur at number 1. People hate on him, but after I watched, he has an amazing feel for the game, even if the physical traits aren't incredible. Darren Sample. I want people to understand something. Darren Sample, shout out to you. Thank you for being here. I hate the narrative that people do, this victimhood, where people come in here and go, yo, people just hate on Shedeur because he's Deion Sanders' son. That's a ridiculous statement. People hate on Shedeur just because, no, dude, what are you talking about? There's an entire fucking faction of people who only support him because he's Coach Prime's son. Blindly support him because he's Coach Prime's son. It's equivalent. You either rock with him because he's his son or you don't because he's not. How about we stop making it that simple? How about you assess him and you think he's a good quarterback? You don't give a fuck who his dad is. You know, when Thaddeus Moss, Randy Moss's son, came out, nobody drafted him. He didn't have no fucking party. He didn't get his own team. He didn't get a bunch of accolades. This is the greatest wide receiver ever, bro. You could say Jerry Rice. I think Randy Moss is the most dominant wide receiver I ever saw. His son didn't get no special privileges. People didn't hate him because he was his son. It's just too simple to say that. I don't like it. I think it's hilarious people call him a mobile quarterback. I call him duck butt, bro. I call him duck butt. Flicks by Kendrick says Cam Ward at 3 is crazy. You might want to go look up the definition of crazy because apparently you don't understand it. Cam Ward at 3, once again, you can be off by 1. The vast majority of society either has him at 1 or 2. I have him at 3, and you're losing your mind. That's crazy, right? You're losing your mind. Do me a favor, bro. Don't ever try to be a content creator in life. Just continue to be a consumer. I've seen people blame Brady Cook for Luther Burden's dip in production. How much of that is true due to his injury? Arvin, I talked about this at length during the season, before the season, and it did not start this year. Luther Burden's dip in production is his own fault. Luther Burden disappears in SEC play. Luther Burden dominates when he's not in SEC play. I got nothing to do with his quarterback. Luther Burden ain't a damn thing. Ain't special. And this is the case with a lot of SEC, all SEC players. When you actually sit down and go look at what they're doing, and you go in here like this and you say see all, and you go look at their games, this is Luther Burden. 3 yards against Alabama, bro. 11 against Arkansas. He's just nobody. He has one 100-yard game all year, and it's Boston College. It's not even in conference. How's he one of the best receivers in the SEC? Why are we even talking about him? You know why you know Luther Burden's name? Because he's the former 5-star who decided to stay home, and all the websites talked about it forever and ever. He did nothing that warrants you talking about him. Nothing. Let's go to 2023. When did he get on the map for you? When? Right here? When he was crushing Memphis, K-State, and MTSU? And South Dakota? When he was doing these 100-yard games and then got in conference play and did nothing against Kentucky? Nothing against Georgia. Tennessee. Disappeared against Ohio State. This is 2 years ago. You want to blame Cook? There's a guy doing nothing. Unless it's the preseason. Oh, man, he's a 1,200-yard receiver. Go look at all those games when he's averaging 40 yards in conference. This is a guy you guys are excited about. Check him out his freshman year. What did he have? 66 was his high against a terrible Vandy team? This is a dude doing nothing his whole career, bro. Only thing he ever did was blow out scrub-ass teams. The whole career. I studied every game he ever played. Wait for them wide receiver rankings. Blaming the quarterback. I'm going to tell you that, for me, Brady Cook is the best Missouri quarterback since Brad Smith. Since Brad Smith, bro. I'm rocking with Brady Cook. I don't want to hear it. Let's see what we got here. So if you had the number one pick and needed a quarterback, would you take Shedeur based off need, or do you think he's not worth number one? Oh, he's def. Armin. If I had the number one draft pick, I would trade him for a free agent. I would trade him for a veteran. I would trade the number one pick for a veteran. Like, I would trade for a different quarterback. I wouldn't draft none of these guys with my number one pick. You get one of these guys for your number one pick, you're drafting somebody that you got to be locked in with for the next 5-6 years as your starter. I don't assess any of these guys as starting quarterbacks long term. None of them. Not even Shedeur. And Shedeur's the best one in the draft. That's not how I see it. NFL starting quarterbacks? Nah. If I had the number one pick in this draft, I'm trading for Baker Mayfield. Like, that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm doing some other shit, bro. That's why you guys want to talk to me about this, because I can't get down with the thought process that the answer to your problem is right here. You feel what I'm saying? Like, let me give you guys an example. Say you live in South Dakota. And you say to yourself, I'm going to marry my soulmate. And then you have to pretend your soulmate is in the proximity of where you live. Because that's what many of you guys do with high school sweethearts. That's what many of you do with whoever you're dating in college. It's the forced proximity is why you're together. It's not really your soulmate. It's just somebody you knew for prolonged periods of time. It's why you can't make friends as an adult. As an adult, you don't make lifelong friends. It's not a real thing. Most of your lifelong friends are derived from your childhood because you're all forced to be in school together. And you're with people of similar age. You're developing together. You're hitting milestones together. You become an adult, bro. You're like 20, 30 years old. And you got a buddy at work who's like 40. You're hitting different milestones at different times. I just bought my first house. Oh, I'm 32. Oh, man, I bought 5 of those in my lifetime. Like, it's just a different, you're never together on this. And then you got family, you got other responsibilities, you got other things. Forced proximity is why you can create lifelong relationships and friendships. I'm just letting you know. So when you look at these quarterbacks, They're all lumped in together, and they're all put like in the same glide path, if you will. All these guys will forever be related to each other when you assess the quarterbacks. Like the 84 quarterbacks, 1984. All the quarterbacks that got drafted together, they're all just right here like this, right? But in reality, there's other quarterbacks you can go get. You ain't got to just get the ones from this year. You get the ones from last year, the year before, the year before, the year before. You can go get anybody. You don't have to stick with what's around you, right? This is why dating apps are so popular. You used to go to a bar and have to meet a girl at the bar. They'd be like, yo, how'd you guys meet? Oh, I met her at the bar on a Saturday night down the street. It's like, yo, hold up. Y'all just crossed paths and made it work? Yep. That's the definition of settling. Like, I'm dating a woman right now. Shout out to the beautiful Kim Jones. How'd I meet her? On TikTok. I had 5,000 women throwing panties at me every night, and I had to pick one. I picked one. She lived 7 hours away. It was unrealistic as all hell, and I said, yo, we're going to make this work. Because that's one of them ones. It's kind of how it works with the NFL draft. You can go get anybody. Draft picks are currency. You could trade them and go get somebody else. I would go get a proven commodity with my first pick. I would not be getting these dudes. Proven commodity. I wouldn't have got Caleb Williams last year either. I told you guys that. Y'all saw me. You guys saw my draft ranking. I put that dude 5 or 6. Y'all saw my rankings. I'm just letting you know. I don't prescribe to the answer to our problem is right here among these 11 guys. Nah. Bro, I'm going to go choose out of the whole wide world. You're not going to force me to pick somebody in this area. I'm going to go the whole wide world, bro. So I might go somewhere else and go, you know what? We're going to go get this guy right here. Who's that all-pro? I got the first pick in the draft. I'm trading it for Justin Herbert. Yeah. I'm trading it for somebody. I know you guys are like, what the hell? I'm trading it for Lawrence, T-Law. I'm going to get something like that. And yeah, I know it sounds like those aren't great quarterbacks. They're better than these quarterbacks. They are. Now, these guys are going to get starting opportunities because it's based on when you get drafted, right? They're going to get starting opportunities. So did Justin Fields. Right? These guys get starting opportunities. That doesn't mean they're great. Kenny Pickett. You go get drafted first overall. This year reminds me a lot of the E.J. Manuel year when no quarterbacks went in the first round except for E.J. Manuel. I think it was 2016. I can pull it up. Was it 2016? No, that was Jared Goff's year. Where was E.J. Manuel? Mitchell Trubisky year, Andrew Luck. When was E.J. Manuel? I'm tripping. 2014? Nope. Baker. It was before then. 17, 16. I'm tripping. I don't know when it was. 15, 14, 13. 2013. E.J. Manuel, only guy in the first round. Then Geno Smith, Mike Glennon, Matt Barkley. Like, it's not crazy. Some of these guys lasted forever. Some of these guys stuck on rosters. Some of you guys think I sound crazy right now. Guess what? History will let you know. History will let you know I'm not crazy. You just have to have the courage to say it. That's all it takes. Just have to have the courage to say it. Let's go back up here. I apologize. Cam Ward at 3. My boy Cairo says, not a Big Ben bathroom joke. Hey, only a few people got it, bro. I believe in you. If you needed a day one starter, would you take any other draft class over Justin Fields? Would you take any other draft class over Justin Fields? A day one starter? Any of these guys? No, I don't believe any of these guys are day one starters. Like, they're going to be day one starters. Some of these guys might be. Cam Ward, Shedeur, depending on where they go. I don't think they should be. I wouldn't do that in a million years, bro. You fucking crazy? They're afraid they won't be able to perform. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Word. Feel like it's majority MVPs in the chat, and we're all getting dunked on by Rico. Hey, what up, man? I ain't worried about it. This might sound crazy, but you compare Jalen Milroe at all to Lamar Jackson coming out of college. This is fucking stupid. Oh, my God. Statistically, Lamar Jackson had 2. If you, did fantasy points, Lamar Jackson had 2 of the greatest seasons of all time. They're both better than Cam Newton's season at Auburn. The only season better is Steve McNair's at Alcorn State. So I think this is foolish. Lamar Jackson was the greatest player in all of college football. by a wide margin, and I think he's even underrated, even though he won the Heisman. Jalen Milroe was still in quarterback battles with scrubs. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is silly. It doesn't even sound crazy. It just sounds silly. It does. Jalen is not a good quarterback. One read and he's finished. Roll Tyro. Shout out to Lewis Henson. Should Ewers have stayed at Ohio State? No, not necessarily. I think he got paid a lot of money. I don't try to second guess players transferring and doing things. It is what it is. Dwayne Haskins should have stayed at Ohio State. You know, I don't know. Who does Kyle McCord remind you of? Oh, man. And once again, go grab the list of just ho-hum quarterbacks. Like, none of these guys are that great, man. He reminds me of one of the nation's leading passers, Davis Brin, 2 years ago. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. He reminds me of Clayton Tune. Clayton Tune's a little faster. Clayton Tune reminds me of Hudson Card. But I don't know. I don't have a comp for you. I don't really spend my time thinking about comps. I just spend my time comparing these players to one another. That's how I do my rankings. I try not to sit here, do draft projections, compare them to other. Like, I just don't do that. I just compare them to each other. I rack and stack them. I give them like a point scale. Arm strength, height, weight, fucking intangibles. Intangibles. No, just a bunch of other categories I have on a spreadsheet, and I give them all point scale stuff, and then there's a multiplier. It's a formula. Everything I do is a math formula, and then that's how I get my winners. That's how I get my guys. Henigan will be number 2 out of this class. Oh, I love Henigan, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. Where would you rank Rattler if he was in this draft class? Number 1? Number 1. Former 5-star quarterback? Number 1. Thoughts on these top prospects refusing to participate in combine drills? Punk bitches? Like, no, I don't think they're any good, man. I think it's terrible. The top prospects not participating in combine drills. It's not there to improve your draft stock. Like, I don't believe in that. I think that if I was to sit here and tell you guys you got to earn your keep and you got to show out to get hired, and you just show up and just go, no, I'm a known commodity, I'm good. Like, all right, cool, man. I don't want you anyways. Like, seriously, that's how I get down. Now, I understand. Some people work out. Some people, here's my issue. If you're not going to work out at the combine, then don't take the invite. Seriously, don't take the invite. Tell them, I'm not going to take the invite. I think I'm better than this. I think you already know what I got on tape. I'm not showing up. Because you're taking the spot from somebody else who could have an opportunity to improve their draft stock. So I think it's just disingenuous, and it's hurtful to your peers, to other people who wish they got an invite. Because there are players who got left out of the combine that would have loved to gone out there and tried their best. But yet, we got these fucking prima donnas showing up and going, nah, I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do that. I'm not doing that. I don't like that. Just don't show up then. Oh, but they got to do the interviews, Rico. They're interviewing with these teams multiple times. You don't got to take a spot at the combine if you're not going to work out. That's how I would do it. If you're not going to work out, don't take the invite. Like the Pro Bowl. Don't go to the Pro Bowl if you're not going to play. Just say you're not going to make it. It is what it is. McCord couldn't win with Ohio State, so that just tells you Will Howard is better than him. Well, that sounds silly. That's absolutely absurd. Caden Van Tilburg. McCord won at Ohio State just fine. The fuck is wrong with you? The next year, they get an all-world wide receiver to show up as a freshman. They get Chip Kelly to show up. And then the whole defense gets a year older, more mature, bigger, stronger, faster. And then the opposition gets weaker. Kyle McCord couldn't beat an all-time great Michigan team. So Will Howard shows up and now he's better? Your logic sucks, bro. Absolute dog shit logic. Caden Van Tilburg? What kind of fucking name is that, bro? Gross. Rico, these quarterbacks are trash. What do you think about the other positions, specifically the linemen? So, Andy, I think when I haven't gotten to sit down and evaluate the linemen, and it takes me a long time to do that, actually. It might take me 2 or 3 days because they don't have stats, so I actually have to go watch each individual guy. But the linemen last year were super special to me. because I found so many great hidden gems that actually got drafted. I think this year I'm going to do the same thing. I have a lot of FCS linemen that I really want to talk to you guys about. So we're going to do that. I think these quarterbacks are fine. I'm really impressed with the running back group. The running back group this year is really strong, and I love the wide receiver group like always. Those two positions move me, and then the linebacker group. I'm big on all those three, for sure, for sure. Linebackers, oh my God, I love the linebacker group. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Nick Martin. I'm super excited about the linebacker group, but yeah, and running back group, wide receivers, yeah. Is your depth chart out yet? Nope. We're working on one position group per night. One position group per night. Thank you guys for being here. Next year, Mikey Keene at the number one spot. The dogs are quarterback you. Shout out to you, Donnie. Mikey Keene technically has to be considered a UCF product because that's where he started. Technically. Were you surprised at how well last year's draft class did in their rookie year? Dominic, they all showed promise eventually. C-Dub was fine, but got sacked a ton. DM Pro Bowl, BN going late. JD, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Okay, so Dominic, maybe you don't know, but I've never watched an NFL game. I haven't watched an NFL game in a hot minute, bro. When did Kaepernick start kneeling? Whenever Kaepernick started pretending like his knee needed to be on the ground, that's when I stopped watching. Real talk. I'm a fucking retired first sergeant in the United States Army. I stand for that damn national anthem, even at home. I don't play that shit. I said, what is he doing? Oh, he wants to do that? That's cool. I'm not supporting this whole league. And I've never supported it ever again. I never will. And I do that. I don't give it ratings. I don't watch it. I don't buy a jersey. I don't go to a game. I don't get down like that. So you can talk about whatever happened in the league this year. I did not pay attention to a single fucking thing. I don't even play fantasy football. I rank the players. I evaluate the players, and I hand them off. Another reason I don't support the NFL is they employ the most amount of criminals of any organization I can think of. They employ so many criminals, and people celebrate these criminals because they run fast or because they're strong and they tackle. I have no idea where this comes from, like this propensity to celebrate criminals, but that's what NFL fans do. It's gross. That's why I don't do a lot of NFL coverage. I'll do the NFL draft, and then I'll never talk about the NFL again. I do the NFL draft every year, and because I'm an expert on all the college players, and then I just ignore it hard. I do podcasts during the Super Bowl. I do podcasts during Monday Night Football. It's my day off. On Sundays, I'm doing nothing but results shows and studying for the next week. I never watch the NFL games. Not in a million fucking years. Don't care. Congratulations to all those players who played well this year. Shout out to the teams that utilize the quarterbacks, but that's why I don't ever try to project how successful these quarterbacks are going to be. I don't know where they're going. I don't care. I don't know if they're going to be used. This is my rankings, what I think of the players, and that's that. If the NFL doesn't agree with me and they bench them all day, they can do that too. I don't care. I just know what I'm telling you. I know who's good. I know who makes your locker room better. Whether they believe me or not, that's their business. You think Travis will play cornerback or wide receiver? Once again, don't give a shit. There you go. That's my answer. I don't care. I have no idea. I can tell you this. When I'm ranking wide receivers, Travis Hunter will have a hard time being anywhere near the top when it comes to my wide receivers. He will have a very difficult time being ranked. I think he's a 4.6 40 guy. I think he's a third-round caliber corner and maybe a second-round caliber wide receiver, but with the elite wide receiver that's in this class, I just have a hard time moving him that far up individually. I just don't think Travis Hunter is a great NFL prospect. And you guys are all gonna lose your minds on that. And but I've studied countless Heisman Trophy winners who failed and not made it in the NFL. I have studied countless high draft picks who failed and didn't make it in the NFL. It's not gonna surprise me at all if I'm right or wrong. And you guys will all pretend like the world's falling and the sky's falling. And I'll just remind you, like, Reggie Bush is the greatest player we've ever seen in our life at the collegiate level. This whole generation talks about Reggie Bush through and through. And Lindell White had a better NFL career than him. Like, I don't know. You know? It's just, you guys don't understand. Like, I just don't think he's that great. Played awesome in Colorado, though. You know? He's an endurance athlete. He played a ton of snaps. He's an endurance athlete. Yo, Rico, your top 5 centers. I'll wait. Yeah, we're going to do all offensive linemen, not just centers. But shout out to you, Willie Bobo. I appreciate you for asking a sarcastic question. I'm with you. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are going to be good quarterbacks. Just watch. King God, I won't watch. I don't watch the NFL, bro. What are we doing? How many times do I have to tell you this? I don't have to watch anything. And for you to make an assessment like that sounds absurd because you don't even know what teams they're getting drafted to. You don't know if they're being drafted and they're going to be backups. You don't know if they go third overall and they're Trey Lance. You guys just say shit, bro. It's crazy. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to try to convince me. You got a camera? You got an iPhone? Just hit record and just start talking and see if anybody gives a shit. That's all I ever did. But to come in here in my chat and try to tell me your assessment, bro, I don't subscribe to your channel. I don't give a what you're saying. Don't care. You have no clue. One of them guys is going to get drafted by the Browns, and not a fucking quarterback in the world has ever been successful with the Browns. So what are you doing? You're either guessing and getting lucky, or you're just shooting shit in the dark, and it ain't accurate, bro. Leave me out of it. I didn't get in here, hey, guys, hey, jump in the chat and let me know what you think. Give me your rankings. I don't do that shit, bro. I'm not one of those guys. This ain't sports debate. All you guys grew up on a debate show. Stephen A. versus Skip. Fucking this guy versus this guy. Dude, it's not sports debate, bro. Before, when ESPN was good, it was about sports educating. This ain't fucking Shough and some other dude talking. It's about getting educated in sports and learning about players you don't know anything about. You didn't teach me shit about Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders right now with that comment. I know who they are. I've watched every snap of their fucking life. Nothing you say is going to change that. So you can have your opinion and just fucking swallow it, bro. Keep it with you. Like it's some badge of honor. I'm not interested. Rico knows any of the draft class over Fields. They're all comparable to Fields. Josh Fields not very good. Justin Fields, Josh Fields. What did I say, Josh? Fields is not very good. Sorry, I get flustered with this nonsense. 2013, thank you so much. Jalen got benched by a guy playing college lacrosse right now. Oh, yikes. Shout out to Kairos. Oh, man. It's very true, though. It's very true. I think Shough is a very interesting quarterback in this draft. Dudo, shout out to you, bro. I do think so. I do believe so. I want to tell you guys that quarterback plug on TikTok has 1 million followers. Anytime he makes a hype video over one of these quarterbacks, I get 1 million questions about it. Friend of the channel, by the way. We are friends. We talk in the DMs, and I always thank him whenever he does that. And he made a video on Tyler Shough recently, and I know when he makes the video because I get a bunch of DMs about a particular player. So he'll be like, this quarterback's the greatest ever. And he'll shoot a bunch of highlights. Oh, my God, he's amazing, right? Did that shit last year with Alex Orji. He does it every year with every quarterback, and I just always shake my head and go, none of this shit is true. Like, none of this is real. I hope Tyler Shough plays great. He competed well at the Combine, so I'm appreciating him for that. And he obviously played the whole season without getting injured, so that's a plus as well. Do you think that Eli Holstein is a good quarterback? I have for 2 years. I really believe in Eli Holstein as a quarterback. I thought he was good coming out of high school. His huddle tape is one of the most elite huddle tapes I've ever seen. So yeah, I'm big on Eli Holstein. Shout out to him. I hope he starts for Pittsburgh this year and he shows out. Also, Riley outside top 10. Riley Leonard? Yeah, Riley Leonard will never be in my top. Riley Leonard can't throw a football. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good basketball player. Can't throw a football, bro. Riley Leonard is not going to be in my top 10 anywhere. These guys can throw footballs. Yeah, I can't get down with Riley Leonard. Rico, what happened to KJ Jefferson? Nothing. He went to UCF and became KJ Jefferson. No, he's just not any good. Not any good. Wasn't good at Arkansas. Wasn't good at UCF. Can't get with him. Do you envision any of these quarterbacks finding long-term success in the NFL just based off their talent alone? Based off of talent alone, no. It's going to take a lot of luck. It's going to take a lot of luck, the right scheme, the right personnel, the right players around them. Nobody here is going to will their way into a successful NFL career. It's going to take a whole lot of... the stars need to align, as far as I'm concerned. Are you going to put Travis Hunter in both your cornerback and wide receiver rankings? Dominic, he would have to earn the right to be in those rankings. Sensei Rico is cooking tonight. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. Jake and Rattler really going to have to prove something this season with Moore's offense after Carr retires or leaves. There you go, Donnie. Donnie's a Saints guy, letting you know. My boy Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler got to figure it out for the Saints. Thoughts on Quinn Allen? He's not a quarterback. We'll talk about him tomorrow night. A hidden gem center. There you go. Appreciate it. When are you doing the receivers and cornerback rankings? Whenever they come out, usually I go quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, corners, and safeties. What do you think about Shedeur? Rewind the show. Start it over. It's already been talked about. Who are the best quarterbacks you've evaluated over the past 10 years? Oh, I don't know. I don't have time for that. I know Trevor Lawrence is number one. Fuck. The last 10 years, what was that, 2015? Trevor Lawrence is number one. He looks so amazing. I watched him since he was in high school at Cartersville. Like, I'm just Trevor Lawrence, hands down, best quarterback I ever evaluated. What is your opinion on UNC this upcoming year, the Bill Belichick situation? My opinion is a lot of the recruits are being over-evaluated and over-ranked and overvalued just because they're going to Bill Belichick. I don't know what Bill Belichick's going to do at the collegiate level. I'm going to have to wait and see. I'm going to watch the hell out of their spring game, do the most research I can all offseason, but I'm actually not going to be able to bet on them in a futures bet because I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do and what scheme they're going to have. I know his son moved over from Washington as a defensive coordinator, brought about 4 or 5 guys with him for Louis luggage. I mean, I'll do it. If you're an MVP, you'll get a video on them in the preseason and the offseason. I'll tell you everything about them, but an in-depth evaluation on every single position group and how I view them doing. But as of right now, I'm not prepared to have that educated conversation. I can just tell you that it's going to be a tough one to project because I have no track record for Bill Belichick as a collegiate coach. I have no idea who you just talked about. I just know of Shough from the Oregon days. Well, Shough used to play at Texas Tech and at Louisville a lot more than he played at Oregon. Just in case anyone is wondering, Jake Haener is 1-0 against Cam Ward. There you go, Donnie. In your opinion, what are the 3 most important attributes of a good quarterback? Nice. Darian Sample. Okay. This is going to be different for some of you guys, okay? So number 1, the most important attribute for a quarterback, for me, is accuracy. In the NFL, it's very hard to complete passes. Coverage windows are tighter. Athletes are everywhere. Accuracy is very important. Then there's going to be a second attribute that not a lot of people are aware of, and it's very easy to see on tape, but you got to find examples of it to know it's solidified. And I'm going to call it something, and they never talk about this on TV, but I know coaches look for it because I talk to college quarterback coaches and what they evaluate in high school and what they're looking for. And this is something that we just all kind of came to an agreement. It's like, yeah, this is what we look for. And I talked to Coach Marion about it. Shout out to him, Sacramento State. It's called collision courage. Collision courage. It's a quarterback's willingness to throw the ball when they know they're going to get hit. Their willingness to finish the pass, step into the pocket, and let it go. Now, a lot of people say pocket presence. No. I'm talking about when you know you're going to get hit and you still complete that throw with accuracy, with courage, collision courage. I believe in that trait, and I think it's essential in the NFL. You'll see guys eat it and take a sack. You'll see guys afraid to complete the pass and look off to a different target or try to run. Collision courage is something I look for, right? Accuracy, collision courage, and then lastly, anticipation throws, progression reads. Those are kind of equivalent, but I think I value your ability to anticipate players getting open. Don't wait for them to get open. You know the route. You know the coverage. You know what you want to hit. You got to let it go sooner. In college, you wait for that corner to get on top. We always say, I'm even, I'm leaving. You have to believe your player is going to get there to those spots. And so I believe in those 3 things primarily. Yeah. Great question, though. Top 5 edge rushers in the draft. Dude, this is not Caden Van Tilburg. What the fuck are you doing, bro? This is a quarterback episode, dude. We're not talking about the whole fucking draft. Oh, my goodness. All right, let me go back to the list so we can talk about it, then we'll get back to the chat here in a little bit. So let me go back to my favorite quarterbacks. Number 1, Seth Henigan. Love him to death. You guys know that. I'm a big fan of Seth Henigan. Shout out to Memphis. If you never got a chance to watch Memphis play football, you missed out. Seth Henigan had an all-time great college football career. Brady Cook. Bringing Missouri back from doormat teams. They were the worst teams ever, and now all of a sudden, Missouri's been competitive the last 2 years. It's because of Brady Cook. Do not blame Brady Cook for the lack of production on Luther Burden III. That dude just doesn't get open. Brady Cook is him. And Brady Cook, 2 years ago when he beat out Horn in the preseason, when he beat out Jake Garcia and made him transfer to ECU, when he beat out, they had a JUCO kid walk on, an All-American, won the national title in JUCO. They had like his whole team. He proved to me that he's the alpha male of that room. And when you watch him in games, that guy can run. Brady Cook is fast, guys. When you go, look at this. Where's the combine results? Brady Cook ran a 4.59 40. 4.59 40, bro? That's faster than Pat Bryant, Ricky White III, and Josh Kelly. That's crazy. These are really good receivers that I like. I love Pat Bryant, Ricky White III, and Josh Kelly. They're running 4.7, 4.6, 4.6. You're not getting drafted with those run times. Now they will. But Brady Cook out here running faster than Monungai, Ollie Gordon, Ulysses Bennett. Brady Cook's fast, guys. He's faster than every single tight end. Dude can run. Linebackers, 4.59, faster than Buchanan, Malgoa, Chris Paul Jr., Jay Higgins. Dude, he's just as fast as Mello Dotson, Kansas corner. Safeties, I know he's faster than safeties. He's just as fast as Sebastian Castro, Iowa. So, he's an athlete, man. I really like that kid a lot. Shout out to my boy Brady Cook. Next quarterback, Kurtis Rourke. Now, I know a lot of people have Kurtis Rourke in their top 10. I know a lot of people believe in Kurtis Rourke. What an amazing season by Indiana. By the way, I predicted that. I predicted that season by Indiana. Shout out to the MVPs. You don't believe me? Go to the Patreon page, search Indiana. Or I believe you can just go watch a pinned video on my TikTok homepage. I told you guys Indiana's winning 11 games. Sell your car. Bet on it, sell the car. The over-under was 5.5. And a lot of it had to do with my assessment of their transfer portal additions, me believing in Curt Cignetti. And I said, Indiana's going to win 11 games, guys. The over-under is 5.5. I bet 10 units on it. Told my MVPs, go sell your car, get all the money you can, and go bet it on Indiana to win over 5.5 games. There's a video posted forever. And a part of that assessment was a quarterback by the name of Kurtis Rourke. Now, Kurtis Rourke, before he had that amazing year at Indiana last year, he was one of the better quarterbacks at Ohio in the MAC. And if you ever want to say one of these quarterbacks reminds you of Big Ben, it would be Kurtis Rourke coming out of the MAC, playing at Ohio. Now, in 2023, he had some injuries early on in the season. C.J. Harris had to come in. He was terrible. But Kurtis Rourke has just been one of those guys that I really like, but I still understand that he's a group of 5 quarterback. And for me, the best group of 5 quarterback in America is Seth Henigan. So Kurtis Rourke, even though he played at Indiana in the Big Ten, ended up in the playoffs, played a great year, I still know that if he was in the MAC, he wouldn't be better than Seth Henigan. That's how I feel. If he was in the MAC, best group of 5 quarterback would still be Seth Henigan coming out of the American. That's just my assessment. So I got to keep that in mind, even though I see the success from Kurtis Rourke. Next, I have Dillon Gabriel, small little guy, miniature dude, all-time great college quarterback. His stats speak for themselves. His production, he's been great everywhere he goes. He's very athletic, but he's tiny, diminutive, small. So it's going to be an uphill battle. And then my last favorite quarterback, you see him there, is Hudson Card. Hudson Card reminds me of John Rice Plumlee, an athletic guy who can run and throw. Remember, he started his career at Texas. He got an opportunity to be the starting quarterback at one point, and then they just started upgrading the quarterback position at Texas, and then he had to leave and go to Purdue. And he got to Purdue and became the starting quarterback at Purdue. I think he's very good. He just didn't get a chance to really ball out, but a lot of it has to do with a terrible coach. And I say terrible coach, and no shade, right? You have a defensive coordinator as your head coach who just got fired. It is the first time ever being a head coach. Didn't quite know how to prepare for games, and the results on the field proved that and showed that. At the same time, his wide receiver room was devastated by injuries. Remember, they lost Burks in the transfer portal. He left to Oklahoma. Jamal Edrin goes down in 2023 for the whole year with the torn ACL. And this is a guy who just moved over from FAU, who was an amazing wide receiver, and he couldn't use him at all for an entire year. And then you lose your third leading receiver, Sheffield. He left and went to UConn. So just the wide receiver room was terrible at Purdue. But Hudson Card can play football, man. He's really good. And if you ever want proof of how good he can be, go back and watch last year. Go back and watch the first game of the season. Forgot who it was against. It's like against an FCS team. I think he went 24 for 24. He completes every single pass. Nothing hits the ground. Something crazy like that. Go back and watch it. It was amazing. So I'm a big Hudson Card guy. The bottom one, hidden gems. My 5 hidden gems. Tommy Mellott's number 1. The starting quarterback for Montana State. Yes, they lost in the national title game. But Tommy Mellott's a lot of the reason they were there. He reminds me of Taysom Hill. He's a big, tall, white dude who can run. Can use him in wildcat formations. He can be utilized in a number of ways. I don't think he has an NFL arm at all. But he's just... Jalen Milroe should be trying to aim to be what Tommy Mellott is. A running quarterback who scores touchdowns when they need him to come in. And that's what Tommy Mellott is to me. Hajj-Malik Williams. I would draft this dude. Or you don't have to draft him. You don't have to waste a draft pick on him. I would bring him in camp. I would bring him on my team. Hajj-Malik Williams. This is a kid who played 4 years at Campbell and then transferred to UNLV for his final year. And he didn't get the starting job. Remember, they kept him on the bench. And then something great happens and he becomes a starting quarterback. Just sheer luck. An NIL deal falls through. And then their starting quarterback, UNLV, leaves. He transfers. I think he's going to JMU or Holy Cross this year. And go back with his old coach. I think JMU. And so now he becomes a starter. Hajj-Malik Williams does. And he starts lacing it. Completing all these passes. He's got 70% completion percentage. I like the way he runs. He's sneaky athletic. I like the kid. I think he's a stud. So Hajj-Malik Williams, one of those sleepers for me. Max Brosmer, former FCS All-American, transferred over to Minnesota this year. Thought he did really well towards the end of the year. And started completing passes to those Minnesota receivers who are underutilized. I like Max Brosmer. Brayden Schager, Hawaii. Yes, he's very experienced, been around a lot of years. This is a guy who, he's been under Timmy Chang for the last 4 years. 2 years. You can't tell me you're not going to become a better quarterback if Timmy Chang's coaching you every day. So I really like that. I like quarterbacks who are under coaches that can develop them and make them better. And Schager, if you watch Hawaii games, there's some gunslinger to him. I like that kid. So shout out to him. None of these guys should get drafted down here. If they do, I'd be dumbfounded. They don't need to draft them. That doesn't matter to me. I like them. They're hidden gems for me. And then Cam Miller. He's a man's man, bro. He's a beast. Yes, he's got mid-arm strength. He doesn't throw a great, pretty ball. Sometimes he's inaccurate on deep balls. Blah, blah, blah. Dude moves the chains. Dude's great for a backup quarterback to come in and do his thing. Reminds me of Tebow, bro. I'm cool with it. I don't care. He's a winner. Won the national title at the FCS level for the Bison. He's just out there doing his thing, running. So those are my hidden gems. I'm going to go to the chat one more time, and then we're going to end the show. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Don't ask me no stupid questions about defensive ends and crap like that. Let me pull up the chat one last time. Let's see what we're talking about here. Why Trevor Lawrence? What set him above his peers? Curious as to what stands out for you as a talent evaluator. So I watched Trevor Lawrence in high school at Cartersville here in Georgia. And he threw a pass on the run. Long, flowing, blonde hair. He threw a pass on the run right before he went out of bounds. He launched it 50 yards in the air. And it just dropped down perfect for a touchdown. He could make throws nobody else can make. Now, you go to an organization, the results are mixed, it doesn't look good, all this stuff. It doesn't matter, man. The size, the ability to process, what he did at Clemson, everything about him is just the bee's knees. The bee's knees, bro. If you sit there and you evaluate players and you try to look at arm strength, ability to throw, accuracy, layered throws, progression reads, everything. Trevor Lawrence checked every box, bro. Checked every box. There's no other way around it. Not an awkward dude in any way. Really, really cool. He was 6'6" with the rocket arm, mobile and accurate. You didn't see him in his freshman year. There you go. I didn't know he had them burners. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Cook. Yeah. Last question. How important is team record in your evaluation of a quarterback? Not really. I don't give a shit. Like that's why Will Howard's getting so much hype. Team record. Good quarterbacks are going to win games. But they don't play defense, right? They don't play defense. How important was team record for Jaden Daniels in college at LSU when they were losing games and he won the Heisman? Or Caleb Williams? Nobody cared about their record. It's not a thing. People can say winning is a quarterback stat. I think it's a coach's stat. I think it's a team stat. It's not. I understand that that's how they view quarterbacks, but that's not how it works. If you're not the reason for them winning, that's not how it works. I'll tell you what's more important to me as a quarterback. Play clock management. When I'm doing my evaluation of quarterbacks, I'll watch them, and I have like this whole spreadsheet, right? If you get to delay a game, and it's your fault, and I assess it to be your fault for whatever reason, oh, man, I mark it bad. Oh, man, it's a negative look. So let's say, for example, you're just oblivious to the play clock. Just oblivious. You have no clue what's happening. And there's a delay game. It's on you, bro. Now, if you're screaming at a receiver to go in motion and he doesn't know when to go in motion and you got to call a timeout, or you take the delay of game because that guy was in the wrong side or they didn't line up in the right formation and all this, so you see the tight end having to flip to the other side, it's not on you. But the reason I bring that up is there's a million people in this world that can throw a football. Like, I can throw a football 50 yards. I did a TikTok video on it once. We went to a park. I grabbed a football. We went and bought one, and I threw it 50 yards. My brother's a quarterback. He can throw it 60 yards. I bench press over 300 pounds. I did it on video. We just can do certain athletic traits. We're natural athletes. This is what we've been athletes our whole lives. We put it on tape and show you. You can be like, oh, my God, the average person can't do that. Doesn't matter. But playing quarterback, I could throw a spiral anywhere I want it. I could throw this route. I could throw this. But playing quarterback in the NFL, it's not just throwing the ball. Nah. And they'll tell you that. Why did Steve McNair struggle initially trying to play quarterback? No one in the huddle could understand him because he had such a strong Southern accent. They couldn't understand him. You can't play call. Some players can't manage the play clock. They can't manage formations and where people go. So they take it off your plate sometimes. You know, this is why playing center is the most difficult position. It's not just snapping the ball. Center's got to call the slide protection, the protection. They got to call all kinds of shit. Offensive line is one of the most difficult things in the world. And listen, I'm not exaggerating, bro. Playing quarterback is one of the most difficult jobs in the entire world. You know how I know? How many people play quarterback? How many quarterbacks are there? Well, there's at least 3 on every single team in America. How many high schools are there? How many colleges are there? There's at least 3 on every single team in America. So there's hundreds, if not thousands upon thousands upon thousands of quarterbacks. And there's only 32 NFL starting quarterbacks. And of the 32 NFL starting quarterbacks, only about 15 of them are good at their job. That means at any given time in your life, there has only been about 15 to 20 NFL caliber quarterbacks on the planet Earth. At any time. There's only been about 20 good NFL quarterbacks at any time in the history of man. It's fucking insane. And it's because it's not just throwing the ball. It's leading men. It's managing the huddle. It's getting the right coverages read. It's pre-snap reads. It's post-snap reads. It's in-game adjustments. It's knowing where wide receivers are supposed to be, what routes they're running, where's the tight end supposed to move, where's the running back chipping. You're moving all kinds of stuff. Where's the ball? What hash is it on? What's the down and distance? How much is left on the play clock? It's everything. It is so complex that only about 15 to 20 people on the entire planet Earth can do it effectively. It's fucking phenomenal. And it's what makes it so hard predicting it and projecting it. But all you can do is say, that guy's got a rocket arm. That guy's super accurate. I think that guy studies film a lot. I think that guy can lead men. I see him leading the huddle. I see him managing things. So when I'm evaluating college quarterbacks and I see you struggling with managing the play clock, I see you struggling with managing where you're at on the field. You didn't know the down and distance, so you didn't know you could tuck it and run and get a first down. You slid too early. You threw it out of bounds on third and long or third and short. Just a number of things. Anytime I see you not being able to manage the structure of the game, I dang you, bro. Everybody can lace it. Everybody can throw the ball 50 yards. Everybody can lace it. Oh, but he throws 72 miles per hour. He throws 82 miles per hour. I don't give a fuck about none of that, bro. Managing the entire structure of the game. That's the hardest part. And that's, you're either built for it or you're not. Seth Henigan's built for it. I've watched it happen for 4 years. That's why I love him so much. I'm just letting you know. Cam Miller, respect. Word. Appreciate you. See you, Fiji. Rico, funny as hell. I almost fell off the treadmill when you referenced Jalen Milroe not running in the Columbine. You mean the Combine. Shout out to you, Joseph Kelly. Thank you for the insight tonight, Rico. You're welcome. Do you think Cam Ward is too turnover prone? Not necessarily. I think that they're all kind of going to learn their way. Everybody, turnovers occur. It's part of the job. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you for being here tonight. I hope you learned something about the quarterbacks in the draft. This is my official rankings. I'm rocking with it. I'm sticking with it. Can't wait to see you guys on the live stream tomorrow night. I'll be doing this probably the same time, probably 8 p.m., maybe a little earlier. You never know, man. My day is what it is. But I'll get around to it, I promise. I obviously have to do high school film reviews, have a bunch of TikTok stuff to do. But I'll get around to it and talk to you guys about it. And we'll be doing running backs next. Hopefully you guys are there. And then I can't wait to see you guys on the NFL draft. We'll do a big live stream together. You guys can show up, watch me, watch all the picks, and I will be analyzing and providing an analysis on everything. I'll tell you about some players. You got to learn, guys. You guys got to learn about these players. All right? Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Thanks for being here tonight. Peace.